Dear media friends, good morning. The first China International Import Expo will be inaugurated on November the 5th and will last until November the 10th. President Xi Jinping gave instructions and decided to hold CIIE, and he will attend the opening ceremony and other activities. At that moment, there will be representatives and heads of states from 150 nations across the world. Also, we have some industry leaders and representatives from the international organizations. On November the 4th, President Xi Jinping will hold a welcoming dinner. In the morning of the 5th, during the opening ceremony, General Secretary Xi Jinping will make his presence and deliver an opening remark. Together with the other heads of states of overseas, he will accompany them to visit those pavilions and expo. And also, on that day, he will meet the heads of states and government leaders for private meetings. China International Import Expo, as the first large-scale expo centering on import in the world, will have both forums and expositions. The expositions will exhibit some import-related national expositions and enterprise-focused expositions. As to the forums, we have the Hongqiao International Economic and Trade Forum. And as we know, the national exposition during the CIIE will be the key focus. There will be 71 pavilions and booths in that exposition. Some countries work together to exhibit in one booth. It has a total area of 30,000 square meters. The nations in the booth would exhibit their national image, their progressing economy and their trade, as well as their featured products. In this exhibition, countries like Indonesia, Vietnam, Pakistan, South Africa, Egypt, Russia, UK, Hungary, Germany, Canada, Brazil, Mexico will have some featured exhibition. In total, there are 12 of them. As the hosting nation, China also put in place our China booth, including Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan exhibition zone. The China Pavilion will be themed under coordination, green development, sharing, and so on. So we will exhibit the great achievements we made since reform and opening up. And also, we would also echo the benefits brought by the Belt and Road Initiative. As to the enterprise booth, there will be 270,000 square meters. There will be 3,000 enterprises from across the board. Those registered enterprises will bring high-quality and featured products. With this exhibition and negotiation, they would find more opportunities for further cooperation. Also, they would enrich the Chinese market and meet the diversified needs of the Chinese consumers. As to the International Economic and Trade Forum of Hongqiao, will be themed under embracing the win-win new landscape, and there will be one opening ceremony and 3 parallel sessions. On the morning of the 5th, during the opening ceremony, it is the opening ceremony of the CIIE and also the forum. As to the 3 parallel sessions, they have different themes: trade and openness, trade and innovation, trade and investment. Each session will include keynote speeches, interaction. They would give priorities to some hot topics about international economy and trade. It is designed to boost international globalization and facilitation of global trade. And secondly, it will trigger innovative development of trade with new growth points and new forms of business. And thirdly, it will revitalize some new dynamism of long-term development. At that moment, there will be 2,000 guests from 130 nations, including heads of states, industry leaders, and heads of those international organizations attending those sessions. And the Hongqiao Forum would be an important platform for global leaders to discuss some common issues. President Xi Jinping has mentioned on many occasions that CIIE is not a usual exhibition, requiring that we must build CIIE into a world-class exposition, and we have full confidence that CIIE would be a very good platform for all nations to build their national image and also have some open trade and development. It will be a public good of economic globalization. First, CIIE will help boost globalization of economy. CIIE manifests Chinese determination to deepen reform and opening up, and our determination to embrace win-win results, openness, and inclusiveness. That's why we highlight full involvement from across the world. And Hongqiao International Forum will be contributing to economic globalization, international trade development, and give voice to the world economic concerns. Secondly, CIIE will help all nations to deepen their economic and trading cooperation. CIIE invites all enterprises from across the world to attend. All cutting-edge technologies and high-quality products will be pulled together in the exhibition. Speaking of the quality, the value, and the number of the yet-to-be exhibited products, it will be the highest among the exhibitions. It will help all the other nations to grasp this opportunity. Thirdly, CIIE will meet the aspirations of people's desires with more channels extended. The collections of products to be exhibited here include some agricultural products, food, pharmaceutical drugs, equipment. Based on the registration right now, for those already registered products, they have about 5,000 categories. The consumers and enterprises do not have to step out of the national boundary to experience such high-quality products in full variety, benefiting from the globalization trend. And the consumers' diversified demands will be met that would also promote the high-quality economic development in China. Fourthly, CIIE will also inject more dynamism into China's reform and opening up. To hold this CIIE, relevant agencies have rectified their management rules and norms, introduced some policies about guaranteeing services, customs clearance, and trade facilitation. Those sorts of measures and policies will support the reform and opening up in certain fields with some new pathways explored. We will work together with certain stakeholders to deepen our cooperation and make joint efforts so that CIIE will be a complete success and CIIE will be a first-class exposition of its kind in the world. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Fu. Next, we will have a Q&A session. In the interest of time, today we will only allow 2 questions. And as usual, please identify yourself before raising the question. Now the floor is open.
您好，中国国际电视台提问。中国国际进口博览会是世界上第一个以进口为主题的大型博览会。那请问现在目前的反响情况如何？
好，非常感谢。
CIIE is one of the largest expositions. So what is the feedback right now you have received?
再过一段时间，实际上是大概是7天左右。首届中国国际进口博览会就要开幕了，大家伙都非常关心这个进口。
Actually, in about 7 days later, the first China International Import Expo is going to be open. Everyone is concerned about this expo because it's themed under import. As to the current progress, I could inform you that this expo has gained very good comments from the international community, and it has received a lot of good response. In our preparation process, there were some key indicators. According to the feedback, many of those major indicators have shown that this expo has been ranking among the top. For example, the number of participating countries ranks #1 in the World Exposition. In this expo, there will be registrants from around 130 nations and many international organizations. This is one of the very few expo with over 100 nations representatives. And also as to the number of enterprises, they also rank among the top with wide representation in many fields. We have G20 members, BRICS representatives, and SCO nations all involved. As to the countries along the Belt and Road Initiative, and the 30 least developed nations also sent out their industry leaders to attend this expo. And the second indicator is about the high level of exposition. All those registrants are very good pioneers and leaders in the industry. As to industries like automobile, electronic consumables, they take up like over 95% of the total areas taken by the booth. There will be about 100 different categories of new technologies to make their premiere for the first time. So this expo would be the launching opportunity for many new products. There will also be about 200 leading enterprises among the Fortune 500. And also, as to the area of the expo, it takes up like 300,000 square meters. That's a big area. That's why we have extended this area for 2 times in order to meet the demands of so many applicants. Many nations have to go through some diplomatic relations to apply for one such booth. The fourth feature is about the ranking and also the titles of those guests, as well as the number of guests. President Xi Jinping announced that in 2018, we will hold CIIE. And after that declaration, we come to the consensus that CIIE must be held annually. After the declaration by President Xi Jinping, he has been widely echoed by international community. The different governments and business in the world have been actively applying. So the scale and the level of those applicants have been way beyond our expectation. So this shows our influence over the world. As to the Hongqiao Forum, it will be attended from the leaders in the governments, the industry, the academia. In all of those expo activities, CIIE could be in parallel with the Asia Forum, BOA, or the World Economic Forum. So we are at high level. That's all for the answer. Thank you. Thank you. I'm from Phoenix TV. With the CIIE around the corner, the Hongqiao International Economic and Trade Forum has attracted a lot of attention. Could you give us more information about this forum, and particularly about the parallel sessions?
Has attracted a lot of attention from all walks of life. So can you please say more about the rundown of the Hongqiao Forum, especially the parallel sessions? Thank you.
好，非常感谢你的提问。刚才在我们傅子英部长的这个介绍过程中，简单的带了一下。实际上我在这里头呢，就详细的特别。
Thank you for your question. Just now, Minister Fu Ziying has given a brief introduction about the schedule of that forum. So now I will present you more details about the parallel sessions. This Hongqiao Forum is an important component of CIIE, including one opening ceremony and 3 parallel sessions. For the parallel sessions, they will be held in parallel in the afternoon of the 5th November, themed under Trade and Openness, Trade and Innovation, and Trade and Investment. Each subsession will be composed of 2 parts. Firstly, the keynote speeches, and secondly, Q&A session. They will take 1 hour, respectively. For the keynote speeches, we invited guests from around the world to discuss the international economic and trade hot issues. As to the Q&A session, we will invite 27 panelists, including those heads of international organizations, famous entrepreneurs, scholars, and also we will open the floor to the audience for more interaction with the panelists. We have so many big names. As to their names, we've already published them openly on the official website of CIIE. You could check it online. The guests will gather together to have a clash of ideas and come to more consensus in order to make common contribution with their wisdom to international economic and trade development. We sincerely hope that this forum will be a complete success, so that this Hongqiao Forum will be built into a good platform for open, mutually beneficial, and win-win communication. We would explore some major issues of international economy and trade. Such a dialogue would need to be sustained. In the interest of time, this is the end of this morning's press briefing. Thank you for your